Hello, hello.
The raw emotion of what's going on in this game. Early goal. Origi! Liverpool disconnect!
Here we go. It's the Kopite podcast.
The VAR Show. The one place for your weekly football update.
So hello, a very warm welcome to a VAR show, the show which talks about all the various major football leagues. Until today, we are going to kind of theme of podcast, interviews, whatever you call it. We have Mr. J. Pearson from the Kopite website and the podcast. So without wasting much time, I would like to first thank Jay for coming on the show, and thank you and welcome to your show. And I'd like to begin by asking you, how are you and what are you doing these days? During the quarantine COVID-19 times.
Listen, mate, thank you very much for having me on, and hello to all your viewers out there. It's much welcome, and thank you very much for having me. Mate, we're all good over here in the UK, plodding along, excited that the football is finally back, and looking forward to watching Liverpool tonight. So, very excited, and just plodding along with COVID. You got to get on with it, haven't you, mate?
So, we'll talk about Liverpool because, of course, you are a diehard Liverpool fan. You can see it from your, even if people do not know you from the Kopite, they'll know, if someone has a Sean Dundee t-shirt over there, that means he follows Liverpool, So,
yeah. Well, this is our studio for the YouTube channel. So it's a little bit of a mess at the minute. We're just sort of rearranging some things because we've got some special stuff lined up when we finally become champions. But yeah, this is it, mate. This is where all the magic happens for us.
So, why did you start the Kopite? Could you tell us something more about it?
Yeah, sure. It was actually before I joined it. There was a couple of guys in Liverpool that started it off just as a website. It's the kopite.org. And it was just a case of guys got together just writing articles and talking about the Reds and sharing stuff on the website and on Facebook. And then it's sort of grown from there. Now we've now got lots of writers all over the world that contribute to the Kopite. So we've got guys in America, some from your part of the world as well, that write for us and contribute. And then it was myself and Mick, which obviously everybody knows who Mick is. We started the podcast up for the YouTube channel just in January. We've been doing the podcast for about a year now, just on Spotify and Apple, but it was YouTube. We started doing it in January, and yeah, it's going really well so far, mate. We've had some really cool guests on. We've had some really cool ex-players on, and Clive Tilsley just recently been on. He's one of the best commentators in the world, and Alexander Vesterveld, Marcus Babbel have contributed to us, and yeah, it's going really well, mate. Dead excited.
So, on a personal level, when did you start supporting Liverpool?
So I started supporting Liverpool around about 1989. I was born in 1985, and I lived in Liverpool for the first 6 years of my life, and it was my mum who basically told me, "You will be a Red. There's no doubts about it. That's it. You're a Red. You're buying a Liverpool shirt." My first Liverpool shirt was actually this one. This was my first one. This was the very first shirt I ever owned. An away one, which was weird. My mum didn't buy me a red one, which was weird.
You're the only player that comes in your mind when I see that is Owen, for some reason.
Well, this one?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little bit before Michael Owen's time. This one was it's got McManaman on it. But yeah, Michael Owen was quite synonymous with this one.
Yeah.
Quite fun. But yeah, so it was the FA Cup final in 1989, Liverpool versus Everton. That was the first football match I remember watching. Again, I was only 4 years of age, so I didn't understand what was going on in terms of what had happened with Hillsborough and stuff like that. But yeah, since about 1985, I was born a Red, and loved them ever since for 34 years.
So definitely, I think this is the most glorious part of your career in supporting Liverpool that they are having. What do you think about Jurgen Klopp? Since you started supporting Liverpool, I think he's the best manager. Can I term it that way?
I would say so. Yeah, I think, Sebastian, you're definitely right on there. I mean, I've seen some great managers. The first manager that I remember properly was Roy Evans. He was very unlucky not to win the league in 1997. Then obviously we had Gerard Houllier, who completely took the club in a different direction, a more modern direction, which was what was needed, and obviously won the treble. And obviously you'll recognise that shirt with Michael Owen won the FA Cup in 2001, so we did a treble then. That was brilliant. And obviously Rafa Benitez came in and made it one step further by winning in Istanbul, which obviously everybody remembers. And then obviously it went downhill a little bit after that. Kenny Dalglish came in and steadied the ship. But yeah, Jurgen Klopp has done an absolute wonder job for Liverpool. He came in at a time where we were struggling. Everyone's morale was down. We were all unhappy. No one enjoyed watching us. We weren't playing attractive football under Brendan Rodgers anymore. And yeah, Klopp is, I wouldn't say he's the best manager we've ever had, because you've got Shankly and Paisley up there as well. He's got to win a few more things to do that. But certainly in the last 34 years, Jurgen Klopp's definitely the best manager we've had. And I hope he stays forever, but we all can't have that.
So definitely, talking of the Jurgen Klopp era, you all won the Champions League and you all are on course to win the Premier League if everything goes all right. Okay, and so of course, every team strengthens, and one player which made the big news and people were horrified when he chose Chelsea was Timo Werner. What do you think of him? Is it a big miss for Liverpool?
I think so, yeah. Don't get me wrong. I was shocked when Timo Werner didn't turn up. I mean, we spoke to Sean Dundee, who's an ex-Liverpool player, and he works for the Bundesliga. He was adamant he was coming, and Jan Fjortoft we spoke to, who's a really, really good sports journalist. He was adamant that he was coming, and it was just a shock that he's not a Liverpool player. Now, obviously, we have to think about what COVID has done to the world financially, and that's definitely had an effect. We have to remember that Liverpool Football Club is still a business at the end of the day, and we've been losing money since the stadium has been shut, the club shop's been shut, no one's buying any shirts or anything like that. The club's still losing money, and if this is the move that isn't right for the club, then they won't do it. We will miss him, because I think he's a fantastic footballer. Chelsea have got an amazing goal scorer there. I hope he does well in the Premier League. I mean, it's one of those things at the minute. Now, whether the club have something else up their sleeve, maybe they've got an Mbappe or a Sancho up their sleeve, I don't know. But it's a bit worrying at the minute that we're not adding to the squad. I do feel that we need to. Not for the case of I'm going to panic for next season, because I still think the team that we've got is better than anybody else in the Premier League. City will be right back up there. Chelsea are obviously strengthening and doing well. We will need to make some signings because, touch wood, hopefully Mane, Salah and Firmino don't get injured. We're going to need a replacement. And Origi and Shaqiri are okay, but they're not the Timo Werner. So it's disappointing we didn't get him. I'm sure there's reasons why. I just hope that Klopp and the owners have got something else up their sleeve.
So definitely, I think fans in general, they overlook players we signed. Like Liverpool sign was in January. I think Liverpool signed Minamino, who has not settled in and was one of the brightest players in the Champions League till then. So according to you, who would be the most ideal signing that Liverpool should target, going forward after missing out on Timo Werner?
Oh, I tell you, well, like I said, if money was no object, I'd love to get Mbappe at the club. I'd love a Jadon Sancho, but obviously those names are very, very high priced, and it's not something that FSG really does with spending that amount of money. Liverpool have got a big deal with Nike that starts in August. There might be something along those lines, but in terms of names, I'd love to see Kai Havertz at Liverpool. I think he's a fantastic player. I think he'd fit in really, really well.
But is that realistic, Kai Havertz?
No, absolutely not. No, it's not realistic, and the reason why is because
the reason I wanted to, just sorry for cutting you out, the reason I wanted to say that is because even if he comes in, he will play second fiddle, right? At least from now what we can see. So would he be even as a player development, and even for him it will not be ideal situation?
No, and you are absolutely spot on. That's the correct answer. Is he wouldn't fit in straight away, because who would you drop? You wouldn't drop Mane, you wouldn't drop Firmino, you wouldn't drop Salah out that team. And then would you go back to your old midfielder and you had Coutinho in, which is why I don't believe Coutinho should come back either, because we've moved on since then. We play a different brand of football, and the midfield of Henderson, Wijnaldum and Fabinho works really, really well. And yeah, Kai Havertz is going to cost over £100 million. He'd have to come in and start every week. That's not going to happen. So it's interesting to see. We're going to have to find people like Andy Robertson again. We're going to have to find the Fabinos of the world. We're going to have to find the Firminos in the world. We signed Firmino like 5 years ago today, and he's been a revelation. No one heard of him. Majority of people didn't know who he was, and he's been brilliant. That's the way Liverpool like to do business. It's the way Klopp likes to do it. He likes to find the people that are under the radar, and that's what we're going to have to do. But we are going to have to strengthen. That's the one thing we are going to have to do. But in terms of names, mate, you could name everybody all day, couldn't you? And you'd be wrong each time.
So you spoke about the likes of Robertson. I'll just throw in one name, and I would like your advice or opinion on him. What do you think of Buendia from Norwich?
He's such a talented footballer. He really is. And again, you find a lot of the teams that have been promoted from the Championship do have the pedigree of great football. And he's such a fantastic footballer, and he would do really, really well for us. But again, he wouldn't start games. But it is from Norwich to Liverpool, no disrespect to Norwich, it's a big step up. And Andy Robertson had to do that. We signed him from Hull, and they were relegated at the time, and he didn't go in the squad straight away. It was only really from December onwards in his first season he really kicked on. But yeah, certainly he can certainly come in as a backup, because we do need a backup left back. 100% we need a backup left back, because if Robertson gets injured or he doesn't play, we lose something at left hand side. And you could see that at the weekend against Everton. James Milner filled in at left back, and I love James Milner. He's absolutely phenomenal, and he's just one of the best players we've ever had in terms of what he does and everything. But when Robertson wasn't playing, we lose something down that left hand side with Mane. Him and Robertson have such a good connection, and it's shown that, and we do need that natural left-footed full-back, and hopefully that is a great name. I would love to see him at Liverpool Football Club, I really would.
Talking of incomings, you have one keeper coming back, that is Karius. He was on loan. What do you think of him?
Yeah.
Like, people generally disregard him because of the mistakes, but he was quite good till the final, right? And do you think he'll be an able deputy for maybe Alisson? If Adrian is not that good, like he's decent, but if you compare, maybe Karius may have higher ceiling from now on, like considering his age.
Yeah.
So what do you think? Like, should Liverpool stick with Adrian or give Karius a deputy?
Yeah, it's a great question, and when we look at it this way, is Adrian for me has been Liverpool's best number 2 we've ever had. I think he's been fantastic for us and fully deserves every title that he wins with us. But he was only signed on a 1-year deal, which makes you question what the crack is with Karius. Now, you are absolutely spot on. Karius did quite well before he made the mistakes in the final and the semi-final against Roma. For me, he's not consistent enough. I do like his shot stopping ability, but again, coming from crosses and his near post, he's not the best at that, and he can make two rash decisions. I think we're spoilt in it with Alisson because he makes goalkeeping look easy. Sometimes people say, "Well, that's not a great save." That, well, no, because he knows where his body needs to be to gobble the ball up. He's that clever. I think Karius, I like his attitude recently where he's turned around and said, "I can push Alisson for the number 1 spot," and that's exactly what we want from a backup goalkeeper is pushing them. And great teams have 2 really good goalkeepers. You look at the likes of Chelsea back in the day; they had Petr Cech and Carlo Cudicini. When one was in, he could come in, and it was exactly the same. And I don't mind whether Karius stays or goes. It doesn't bother me one bit. I like his attitude, though. I like the fact that he wants to stay and rectify those mistakes. For a lot of Liverpool fans, though, it is unforgivable because we have such a passion for the European Cup. It's our baby. It's the one thing we always want to win. And a lot of us feel that without those mistakes, we could have won that final against Real Madrid. And at the end of the day, that's what he's always going to be remembered for. And the last thing I'll say on it is, if Karius makes a mistake for Liverpool, it's 10 times worse than if he made the same mistake for another team. Does that make sense? Because he'll make a mistake for one team and they'll be like, "Oh, he's made a mistake." But for Liverpool, it's like, "Oh, he's done it again." And I fear for him if he does make a mistake in a Liverpool jersey again, because it will be the end of him. But if he does come back and he does stay and he plays ahead of Adrian, then good luck to him.
So you're talking about Karius, you have one more controversial figure at Liverpool, that is Dejan Lovren. And many of them even said that he has cost Liverpool the invincible title in 2 seasons. I think even in the last season, when you lost the only game you was playing, and even in this season, the game you was playing, you lost. So it might be a coincidence, but you never know. So what do you think of him? Should they move him on?
Well, he nearly moved last year. He nearly went to Roma, and for some reason the deal didn't go ahead. I think Dejan Lovren believes in his own ability, and everybody should. You wouldn't be a professional footballer if you didn't believe in your own ability. That he's played in Champions League finals, he's played in a World Cup final. He knows he's good at his job. Don't get me wrong, but I think you are right. He has sort of cost us in certain games, and don't get me wrong, he's also done really well for us in certain games. But Yeah, I think maybe it's the time for Lovren to go now because he's been here 5 years now, and I think it is time for him to move on because at Liverpool he's fourth choice, but in another team he'd be number one choice, and I think that's what he wants now. I think he'll have won the Champions League, the Super Cup, the World Club Cup. You know, touch wood, he wins the Premier League. I think he'll be done now, and he can move on. I think it is time for him to move on because I think a lot of Liverpool fans are losing the patience with him, and you know, I don't like say negative stuff about footballers when they do make mistakes. I like to see the benefit of the doubt, but when he did come on against Everton at the weekend, we nearly lost the game because of his decision making. And don't get me wrong, he's been a decent player for us, but he's not at that level of what Van Dijk is. And I think Gomez is now better than Lovren. Matip's better than Lovren, and it is time for Dejan Lovren to move on. And I do think he will move on after the season's finished.
So, you know, many of the neutrals were quite happy to see Dejan Lovren on. They were saying that it made the game interesting, you know, when he came on.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. I think, well, he was the fourth substitute, wasn't he? So it made it funny, the fact that he was the fourth substitute and nearly cost us the game. So, yeah, it's the neutrals love Dejan Lovren because he'll always make a mistake for Liverpool, and yeah, it's the comedic value that he brings. But don't get me wrong, I love his attitude and his relationship he has with Mo Salah. You know, he puts a smile on Mo Salah's face because they're best friends, and that would only worry me if Lovren went. Would Mo Salah be like, "Oh, there's my friend. I want to go now." Do you know what I mean? So, but no, yeah, it's Dejan Lovren's a character. He's very outspoken on social media. He says the wrong thing quite a few times. So, yeah, definitely time for him to move on, and I'm sure wherever he goes, he'll be a big success.
So, you know, talking about players who may move on, there is a very curious player at Liverpool by the name of Shaqiri. He has performed good whenever he was there, and I still remember against United he did quite good, I think, last season.
Yeah.
But he's not playing. He's just not playing. I don't know why. And there are links that he might go to Newcastle. What do you think of him? Should Liverpool move him on?
I think they will do. I do. I think something's gone on in there. There's something we don't know. There's something we're not seeing. I don't know if anything has happened between him and Jurgen Klopp or his attitude. I just don't know. There might have been a falling out because he's been fit and he hasn't been playing. He's been fit and he hasn't been in the squad. And then when he does play, like you said, he does. You know, the last time I remember him playing was against Everton in the derby, and he did at Anfield, and he did really, really well. And we thought, this is the Shaqiri that we know and love. And you know, he's fantastic against Barcelona last year. He was one of the reasons why we went through to the final, and he's had his moments with us. And I like him, mate. I really do like him. I was so happy when we signed him, and you know, £13 million for Xherdan Shaqiri was an absolute bargain, and we'll make money on him. He'll go for 20 million, maybe a little bit more, and it'll be a great piece of business. It's a shame, but again, when we do have the likes of Mane or Salah or Firmino dropping out, and then he comes in, there is a drop in the level, and we see that going forward. If he comes on after 60 minutes or for the last half an hour, he can be very impactful, again, like he has done against Manchester United in the past. But when he starts games, it's only against sort of the so-called lesser sides. He does quite well, but in big games, starting matches, we always seem like we've dropped off. Barcelona was a completely different thing because the crowd, everything about it, we knew the league was sort of maybe a bit gone at that point, so it was a different kettle of fish, that one. But yeah, I do think Shaqiri will go because I think the squad depth needs to be a lot better. So if Mane doesn't play or Salah doesn't play, someone of the same ability can come on. And it's a shame because I do like Shaqiri, but again, it'll be a great fit for business, and he's done well for us. But something's not right there. But I think he will go.
So, you know, moving on from that, you know, considering Liverpool win the league, that is very highly probable. What will be the realistic target for next season? Like, many fans consider that you win maybe all the 5 trophies every year. That is quite not possible. But what do you think will be the realistic target?
It does make me laugh when people say that, when the Liverpool fans say that, because it's so unrealistic. I mean, don't get me wrong, Man City can do it no problem because they've got 2 players for every position. So they can do that. We can't do that. We don't have the money to buy a world-class player and pay them the same wages for every position. So when City change their players, it's a like-for-like change. For us, like we've just been discussing, it's not the same. So for me, I'd just like us to see defend the title. That's, for me, is so important. I don't just want to win the Premier League and then that's it. It's done now. We've won 1 trophy. We've won the Premier League. We don't have to forget about it. No, like you said, we'd love to win every trophy every year, but it's just so unrealistic. Not many teams can do that. City are a different breed. They're on another level, and City will come back stronger. They'll be hurting the fact that they're 20 odd points behind Liverpool. They'll be upset about that, and they'll come back a lot stronger, and we need to be ready for that. But for me, the only thing I want to see next year is defend the Premier League title. I want us to see us come back and win it two times in a row. Lots of teams can win it once, but then not win it the year after. Manchester United have won it 3 times in a row. Chelsea have done it 2 times in a row. City have done it twice in a row. I want us to be one of those teams that can win the Premier League and then go and win it again. We've got a good chance, and the reason I say that is because a lot of people's team spending will be quite limitless, given what's happened with COVID-19. So a lot of teams will go in with the same teams that they've already got from this season. We've just got to be ready. We've just really, because everybody will be wanting our title, and we just got to be ready for it. But disappointed we went out of the Champions League, I've got to say. I was at Anfield for the Atletico game, and it was disappointing the way we went out. Again, a couple of goalkeeper mistakes. Alisson's playing, and that doesn't happen. It's experience, and I'd like to see us go far in the Champions League again, because it's our competition. So, but again, I'd like to see us go and win an FA Cup. We've not won the FA Cup since 2006. I'd love to see us win the FA Cup, because it's the best cup competition we've ever been in, and I'd love to see that. So, sorry, let's do the treble. Forget it. Come on, let's go do the treble. Let's do the treble. But yeah, mainly, mate, I want to see us defend the title. That's what I want.
So, a major reason that even Liverpool are even thinking of winning a league title back-to-back is because of Jurgen Klopp. There is no doubt about that. He's the main. You can have all players, but he's the main person. When do you think he'll leave Liverpool? That's very near. I think he'll be in 5-6 years. But when do you think? And when he does leave, I want to add another question to it. Whom do you think would be, as of now, the replacement for him or his successor?
Yeah. Well, according to Jurgen Klopp, he signed on until 2024. So we've got 4 more years of the amazing German manager. I do think he'll go after that. It's very rare Jurgen Klopp stays any longer than 7 years at a club. He hasn't done that with Mainz. He hasn't done that with Dortmund. I don't think he'd do that with Liverpool. But then again, he's won the Champions League with Liverpool. He's won the Premier League with Liverpool. He might just say, I want to do another 10 years, which would be fantastic, because I don't know where he would go after us. He probably manage the German national team, but there's rumours that he doesn't want to do that either. So if Jurgen Klopp does leave in 2024, we're all going to be heartbroken. It'll be devastating, because we don't want to see the team drop off, because if we win a couple more league titles before then, it'll be devastating to see us change. But I think the obvious answer is what everybody is talking about, is that it could be Steven Gerrard that replaces Jurgen Klopp. He's obviously done quite a good job at Rangers. I still think Steven Gerrard needs to manage another club before he manages Liverpool, because Scotland is a completely different league, and it's so far down below the Premier League. It's unreal. So I think Steven Gerrard needs another job before Liverpool, but I think that's the natural success of what everyone thinks will happen. Right now, I couldn't tell you who would, in the world of managers. I mean, Klopp's assistant, Pep Linders, he's been talked about taking over from Klopp. He'd have the same philosophies. The players know him, and he's really, really good man to have around the club. So for me, it could be Pep Linders, but I think the obvious. It's no coincidence that Steven Gerrard will leave Rangers the same year Klopp leaves Liverpool. So I think it's written in the stars that Steven Gerrard will probably be our next manager. And I'm not bothered. I think that's brilliant. I'll take that all day.
So you are saying that Steven Gerrard has done a good job, and probably he has done a good job with Rangers. It's his first year in senior management, but
yeah,
your previous manager, that was Rodgers, he won the treble. He almost won the treble. He left in between, but you see the condition.
Yeah.
Like, he was not doing so good at Liverpool, and he has gone and performed wonders there. And I don't think so Gerrard is good enough right now, or even in 4 years if he continues at Rangers, to come and manage Liverpool. Do you think he has to take somewhere around mid-table team of a Premier League to even justify his candidate to be a Liverpool manager?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I mean when I said in the last one. I do believe that he needs another job before he takes the Liverpool role. And yeah, Brendan Rodgers did wonders at Celtic, but I think anybody could go up to Celtic and win the league, because there's only one or two teams in it up there. So, but yeah, I think Gerrard needs another. He either needs to stay at Rangers for the next 4 years and win trophies to make sure that he's got the pedigree behind him, or he needs to come down to the Premier League and manage a mid-level club. Do what Frank Lampard did, manage a Derby or somebody like that, and then work his way up. But yeah, I think the romance of it, because we know and love Steven Gerrard, he would be the natural. He'll be Liverpool manager one day, regardless whether it's in 4 years or 10 years. He will do the job. But I agree with you. It's sometimes you want to just slow it down a little bit. You don't want it to happen too quickly, because if he comes too quickly and then doesn't do well, it could tarnish his reputation. You don't want that. So yeah, just when the time's right, it'll happen. But he probably will be the next Liverpool manager.
The reason I say that is because he could, touch wood, it didn't happen, but he could be the David Moyes to Alex Ferguson. Like you are replacing or you are coming in for Klopp. It's a very tough boots to fill. So yeah.
Oh God, yeah. Whoever has to follow in Jurgen Klopp's footsteps, I don't envy them one bit. The job would be too much like David Moyes to Alex Ferguson. You just don't want the job directly after. Anybody else after that, fine. But yeah, it's going to be hard to replace Jurgen Klopp, and I hope we don't have to. I hope Jurgen Klopp stays for another 10 years. I really do. But we all know it's not going to happen. But that's why, as Liverpool fans, we need to trust in Jurgen Klopp, trust in the job that he's doing. He's been phenomenal for us, and enjoy it while it's here.
So I'll ask you a difficult question. It'll be difficult for Liverpool fans. Who had a bigger impact, if you say, as of now, in the Liverpool squad, Van Dijk or Alisson?
Oh, it's a good question, that, mate. I like that one. That's a really good question. Oh, I tell you. Well, if you look at it this way, Van Dijk arrived before Alisson, and we sort of spurred us on from that January to the Champions League final. But Alisson took us on a different. We went up a level, because at the end of the day, shots are still going to go at your goalkeeper. Van Dijk can't stop everything on his own. You've got to have the last line of defence is your goalkeeper. So if put on the spot now, I would have to say Alisson's had the bigger impact. Van Dijk is phenomenal, don't get me wrong, and we are absolutely blessed to have him. But he also plays along the back four of another. There's three other people there. There's Matip and Gomez, there's Robertson, there's Trent, and as a unit, all four of them work well. Van Dijk couldn't do the job without the other three, and they'll say the exact same thing. But Alisson's one on his own. He's got to make those last-minute decisions. He's got to come for balls when he thinks the time's right. He's got a time coming out to collect the ball. He's got a time his positioning. There's a reason why he's the best goalkeeper in the world for me. And yeah, I do think it's Alisson's probably had only slightly though. They like that, but maybe Alisson, because at the end of the day, the best way I can describe it is we get to the Champions League final in 2018 and we don't win it because of a goalkeeper. The following year, we nearly went out against Napoli, and in the last minute, Alisson makes a fantastic save, which gets us out of the group stage, qualifies for the last 16. We get to the final, and Alisson pulls off some fantastic saves in that final. We win the Champions League, and that's the difference. So yeah, I'd probably say Alisson.
So I'll talk again another difficult question for you. The Liverpool system, at least the Jurgen Klopp system, is built around in such a way that you have your fullbacks attacking and maybe providing the attacking prowess that normally your midfielders provide. So do you think like a prime Steven Gerrard would fit into this system?
Oh, I think Gerrard would fit into any system that anybody plays. He's such a talented footballer. You could ask him to play anywhere and he'll do a fantastic job. In Istanbul, he had to play right back, and he was the best right back in the world for half an hour. He was fantastic. So yeah, Gerrard fit in anywhere. You could play him in Fabinho's role, he'd do a great job. Play him at Henderson's role, he'd do a great job. Play him in Gini Wijnaldum's role, he'd do a great job. Play him up front, he'll still do a bloody good job. So yeah, for me, Gerrard would fit in any team, anytime, because he's that adaptable. Not many players are, which is why he's one of the greatest players of all time.
So if Henderson wins the Premier League this year and picks up few more trophies on the way, probably he should, and maybe a Premier League or two more, would he be a more successful captain than Steven Gerrard?
If you go from a trophy perspective, then yeah. I mean, if we look at it, how many trophies has Captain Gerrard's won? We look at he's done the Istanbul, FA Cup, Champions League, obviously. He's won 2 League Cups, a Super Cup. So, but now Henderson has won the Champions League, he's won the Club World Cup, he's won the Super Cup, he's won the Premier League. So from a winning perspective, yeah, Henderson will be a more successful captain than Steven Gerrard, no doubt about it. Is he a better captain? Well, it's hard for us to say because they're two different styles. And Gerrard was the best player in a really poor team, whereas Henderson might not be the best player, but we've got 11 fantastic players. Whereas we saw for years that Steven Gerrard had to carry the team. He wasn't surrounded by the best players all the time. It was only when we had like Reina, Carragher, Alonso, Torres, that's when but Steven Gerrard was still the best player then. So it's difficult to say, really. From a trophy perspective, Henderson will be more successful when he wins the Premier League, absolutely. There's no doubt about it. But is he a better captain? I think that the two completely different styles. And Henderson has done a lot for this club. He's been here nearly 10 years now, and people forget how much he's done and how much he does off the pitch as well, charity, backstage sort of stuff. And he's an absolute leader. And that just goes to show when the likes of James Milner is complimenting him and Virgil van Dijk are complimenting Henderson because of the stuff he does. And when Henderson doesn't play, we do miss him. We miss that leadership. But from a perspective of who's the most successful captain, I think Henderson's about to edge it. I really do, because he's going to lift the Premier League trophy, and there's no bigger trophy, is there? There's the Champions League and the Premier League, and Henderson's done both, and Gerrard unfortunately only did the one.
So talking of Henderson, many of them have said that he's going to be the Premier League Player of the Year, probably. Yeah. What do you think? Who has been the most? Is he the best player in Liverpool itself, or should you think that it is justified to give him the Premier League Player of the Year over maybe a Van Dijk or maybe Arnold even? Yeah,
no, absolutely. Well, I think Trent Alexander-Arnold he'll win the Young Player of the Year award. He'll definitely do that. I think there's no debate about that. Henderson has definitely not been the best Liverpool player this season. I would give that to Sadio Mane. I think he's been absolutely phenomenal for us, and he's definitely had his best season for us. But there's a difference, like I said, with Henderson. Henderson has been through it with Liverpool for the last 10 years. He's seen us down. He's seen us lose cup finals, but he's led this team from losing the Champions League final to winning another one, to going 97 points in the Premier League and missing out by 1 point, to then leading the team again, picking them back up. Come on, lads, we're going to get this Premier League. We've not only lost it by 1 point. We're going to come back stronger. And he's led that team to do that, but he's driven that team, especially since January. He's been phenomenal for us, and obviously there's stuff that he does off the pitch for the Premier League. It shouldn't go unnoticed as well, but on the pitch, if you're just talking about on the pitch, I probably would give it to Sadio Mane just because of what he's done on the pitch. But overall, you've got to give it to Jordan Henderson for the impact that he's had on this team, because when he doesn't play football for Liverpool, we do miss him. And it's a lot of Liverpool fans don't understand that. But it's only the keen-eyed ones that do understand how much we miss Jordan Henderson. So if Jordan Henderson gets named Player of the Year, he 100% deserves it over anybody else.
So, on that note, I'll ask you one final question, okay? And this is a very hypothetical question, because I think Liverpool are not going to do it. But if suppose tomorrow you had the option, because you have signed a deal with Nike, probable. If you could have a chance to sign Messi or Ronaldo, whom would you sign?
Oh, gosh. It's a tough one. It is a tough one. I have this debate a lot, who's better, Messi or Ronaldo. For me, I'd go with Cristiano Ronaldo. And the reason why is because I've seen Ronaldo win titles in different countries. I've seen him win everything in England. I've seen him win everything in Spain. He's done it internationally. Messi hasn't done that. Messi is one of the most gifted footballers I've ever seen. I think his assists and his goals speaks for itself. He's 6 Ballon d'Or champion. He's absolutely phenomenal. But I've never seen Messi do it in another country. I've never seen him go to England and do it. I've never seen him go to Italy and do it. He hasn't won anything with Argentina, whereas Ronaldo has done that. And for me, Cristiano Ronaldo will be playing when he's nearly 50. He will still be playing. He's an unbelievable footballer. So for me, I'd have Cristiano Ronaldo over Lionel Messi.
So, on that note, Jay, thank you so much for talking to me, and I wish you and the team of the Kopite all the best for your future endeavours, and hope you all win the Premier League maybe today. If you all win, I think, and if City lose, you all can probably win it, right?
Yeah, so if we win tonight, Manchester City play Chelsea tomorrow, and if City drop points, if they draw or lose, then we will be champions. If not, it'll be next week when we play City at the Etihad. But mate, no, listen, thank you so much for having me on. It's been an absolute pleasure. I'm more than happy to come back on at any time. I will have the Premier League trophy next to me next time. I'm having one made for us, so you'll be able to see that. And yeah, and hello to all your supporters and everybody on your channel, and best luck with everything, mate. And do keep in touch with us, yeah? You keep in touch.
Thank you, sure. Hope to talk to you soon again, and hope to have all your teammates over here one day.
My pleasure, mate. Love it.
Thank you.
All the best. Bye-bye, mate.
Bye.